Hi, my name is Louise.
And hi, I'm Emma.
And you're listening to Murder or Myth,
the true crime podcast where not everything is true.
The aim of the game is to find out whether the story is actually a murder or if it's just a myth.
Now, let's get started. Hi, Louise.
Hi, Emma. How are you?
Good, thank you. How are you?
I'm good.
Are you ready to record episode 40?
For sure I am.
Right, let's get into it. So, my story this week occurs on the morning of the May 6th in 2017.
On the morning of the May.
The morning of May 6th, 2017. So, workers for core construction began arriving at the Tower Bridge construction site from 7:45 a.m. onwards. They were working on a corporate office building and apartment developments. A crew of 200 primary contractors worked directly under core construction along with external contractors. 2 workers were tasked with hauling a tabletop to the first floor apartment of one of the buildings. They were expected to efficiently set up a pulley system and hoist the table up using railings at the apartment balcony. The jig was set up with 2 of the workers setting off to attempt the task under no supervision. At 10:20 that same morning, a call went to emergency services that 2 workers had had a fall at the Tower Bridge construction site. Before the ambulance arrived, 2 workers were identified as Travis Mills and Eddie Sowell. They were found unconscious under the balcony area of where they were working, surrounded by the remnants of the railings and the tabletop. Travis was pronounced dead at the scene, and Eddie made it to the hospital. He too, however, succumbed to his injuries after a short surgery to stop internal bleeding. An investigation on workplace safety and conditions at the site ensued. It was found that 2 men were not trained for the lifting task and had no supervisor observing them in the lift. The company had not provided any safe press training to either of the 2 workers, and no risk assessment or plan was provided to Travis and Eddie by supervisors. A court case was brought against the company of core construction for negligence of its workers' health and safety. The company was charged with 2 counts of corporate manslaughter and safety breaches, leading to death.
Did you say where this takes place?
Yeah, it's a Tower Bridge in London.
Oh, London. Okay, sorry.
Core Construction's director, Michael Farsight, was convicted of breaching safety laws by not providing adequate safety training to his workers and failing to conduct a proper risk assessment. Michael was sentenced to 2 years in prison and was removed from the director position of Core Construction. The company had to pay out £1.3 million for each worker death. Michael had also been given a lifetime ban from directing any construction companies in England. And that is the end of the story.
Okay, so I'm in 2 different trains of thought at the minute.
Go on, tell me.
It's quite a specific area to do a story in.
Yeah.
Like construction, Tower Bridge, London, which is leaning me towards murder.
Yeah.
But it was also told slightly more descriptively, before the ambulance arrived, the men were identified and things like that, which to me just sounds, although I guess that's not necessarily descriptive, but you know what I mean? It's like...
Yeah, like a different way to present the story. Mm-hmm. Gotta switch it up.
I feel like I could be wrong in this, but I'm going to say myth.
You're going to say myth?
Yeah.
It was a myth?
It was a myth.
Yeah, it was a myth. I was just basing it off, companies that have got charged for murder.
Yeah.
Nothing, specifically, but, that's the gist of how they go.
Yeah.
So that was that. Yeah, I feel like we always, I don't know, when you're starting off your stories, you're always like, it was this date and this body was found, whatever.
Yeah.
So, change it up.
Yeah, I also felt like it was kind of along similar lines of, the Orview one, so I felt like maybe you liked talking about work-related things, which also maybe made me guess a myth, but I'm not sure why. I guess they're kind of... they don't follow a similar pattern to a different kind of murder, so it's not like you're not as caught up in DNA and
details like
that. So it's a different kind of straight away what the what happened and who's at fault. It's more so just how much fault are they at, and more legal things.
I know. I was just trying to get away from horrible stories
for
a little
sure.
bit.
Totally
and then it's it wasn't necessarily a person who murdered them, it was an accident, but technically you're
at fault.
like on the collar for it, or on the cuff. What's the saying?
I'm not sure what that's saying.
They're like on the hook, maybe. Maybe that's what I was trying to say. Who knows?
Not me.
Maybe a viewer will comment it in the
That would be ideal.
comment down below if you can think of what I was saying. But yeah, that's the story for this week.
Thanks for telling me, and thanks for everyone who listened. Make sure to like and subscribe.
On this week's episode, Louise correctly guessed my myth was in fact a myth.
Find us on all streaming platforms.
Join us next week for another thrilling adventure.
Remember, it's myth until proven murder.
Slay.